Pentatonics. Now, in the previous videos, I'd strongly suggest you look at those first. We've looked at playing around an A minor, played at the 5th fret using an E shape. Now, that's very important. We also looked at having looked at all that, we also looked at the idea of extensions on that, passing notes, and so forth. So a whole range of things. Now, it's extremely important to master those things with the previous fingering before you venture anywhere near this particular video. And the reason I say that is 95% of being able to improvise well is about knowing where those notes are going. 5% is knowing the fingering. So if you can get this working with one particular fingering really well, it would be very easy for you to transfer it to a new fingering. On the other hand, if you're not standing on solid ground when you try to transfer across, what you're going to be doing is at the very, very least doubling your work. You may even find yourself going backwards, so be very careful about that. Try and get that first sequence right, get yourself comfortable with it. Now, assuming you are comfortable with that, the next thing you'll be wanting to know is, well, what happens if we want to play all over the neck? Now, this comes back to our chord shapes again, and you may well have picked up my video on the fact of there being only 3 basic chord shapes in which everything else is based. That's worth a watch if you haven't watched it already, but okay. Lots of permutations, of course, but okay. So we've got an A minor here, and we based our pentatonic on that. Now, it's logical to assume, therefore, that if we were going to have an alternative place to play an A minor, we'd base it on another chord shape. So here we've got an A minor. Okay, now as you can see, this is quite a long way up the neck, and so it becomes a little more difficult to see what's going on. So for the purposes of this, we're going to initially work in a different key. We're going to work in D minor. Okay, now again, as you'll see, this is a much easier part of the neck to see what's going on. It's also important because it highlights the differences between the 2 chord shapes we've been using. Now, if we're playing with our original shape, we've got this in our mind's eye. Okay, but if we're playing with this shape, we've got this in our mind's eye. So we need to know where our roots are. So here's a little diagram which shows you that. Okay, root on the 5th string, and that's our first difference, isn't it? Okay, this is home in this shape. It wasn't even in the chord in the A minor. Played like this. That's no use, is it? Do this. Aha, there's the root note. And there's the octave to it. Okay, we've got our 5ths and our 3rd. I'm going to start from the 5th string, fingering 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. Okay? Okay, so that's not too difficult, is it? Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add something underneath the root. So this is, again, a very easy place to get yourself confused. This is the root. Yeah, a nice little riff to remind yourself of that is. Okay, so the next part is a little bit more tricky because of where the notes sit. So my tendency with this is to actually not do this, I find that it's almost it's more a classical position, which doesn't really, to me anyway, lend itself very nicely to rock guitar. So what I tend to do is tuck that first finger in there and either bend or I've got the opportunity of actually bending a string and playing another straight string next to it. Okay, it may be that I just want that note played straight. I can still do that. You notice there though, it's a little bit more of a stretch. Okay, so the next thing to say to yourself is, well, okay, what if we've got a passing note there? Now this is really handy for using this particular string I've found. Use variety, don't just go at it the same way. Okay, so again, this is very useful, this first string, but in a different phrase. So as I said, all these notes are useful, they just have different contexts. As well as our basic notes, or if we prefer, we've also got the opportunity of bringing in passing notes. Now this is a minor pentatonic with a passing note. I'm not going to give it some weird title that doesn't tell you what it is. That seems daft to me. Okay. Okay. Now, if we're going to be bending strings, the areas for those are slightly different than they were in the previous fingering. Okay, so that's to our fifth. But we've also got the opportunity of keeping in the chord shape and playing this. Okay, so that's quite fun as well. Anyway, so that's enough on our A shape D minor pentatonic. Have a little think about that just for a second. So what did we just say? We said, okay, this is our A minor shape. That's where it's come from. Root on the fifth string. This is our E minor shape. Root on the sixth string. In this particular case, creating A minor. Okay. Anyway, that's enough for the moment. So I'll be back with a little bit more on this particular fingering in the next video. So thanks very much for watching, and if you could hit the subscribe button, that'd be great. Bye for now.